Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
Right now, organizers of a Fargo protest are meeting now at the City Hall in the wake of another possible protest on Friday, as protests and marches for George Floyd continue around the country. A Grand Forks woman has organized the area's first peaceful demonstration for Thursday afternoon in hopes of inspiring change. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with police today, who say while they hope the march stays peaceful, they are prepared for the worst.
As of Wednesday afternoon, just over 200 people have RSVP'd to Thursday's protest for change. And despite multiple attempts, the march's organizer did not respond to our inquiries. But posts on the event's Facebook page show the intentions are for it to be as peaceful and non-disruptive as possible, something Grand Forks police say they hope sticks.
We want this to be peaceful. We want it to be a demonstration and go off without a hitch.
Zimmel says GFPD has been in communication with the organizers and says while officers want to believe the march will stay peaceful, several protests around the country, including Fargo last Saturday night, have ended in violence and destruction.
It's one thing to know that it can happen in theory, but it doesn't happen here. Well, now it happens here, so changes things.
The protest is set to start at this parking garage on First Avenue and North 4th Street, with plans to march through the city's downtown to advocate for change of police brutality, systematic racism, and the death of George Floyd.
We'll be prepared for contingencies, but it's not our goal to interfere with this in any way, shape, or form. We want it to be peaceful. We're in support of it being peaceful. We're working with them to try to ensure that occurs.
In Grand Forks, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Another promise of a peaceful protest is set to happen once again in downtown Fargo Friday night. And tonight on Valley News Live, 10 at 10, we spoke with organizers who explained what will be different in order to keep it peaceful. Charges against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin have now been elevated, and 3 other former officers have now been charged for their involvement in the death of George Floyd. In the video from Floyd's arrest, 3 former officers can be seen putting their weight on top of George Floyd before his death. They include Chauvin, now to be charged with second-degree murder and manslaughter. Officers Thomas Lane, J. Alexander Kang, and Tu Tao now face charges as well.
Today, Hennepin County Attorney Michael Freeman and I filed a complaint that charges police officer King, Lane, and Tao with aiding and abetting murder in the second degree, a felony offense. I strongly believe that these developments are in the interest of justice for Mr. Floyd.
Attorney General Keith Ellison says that anyone who has information on Floyd's case to please come forward. Pretty uneventful weather right now, but how about later this evening? Let's find out from Hutch, who's got a look at our first alert forecast. Hey, Hutch.
Andrea, hello, and hello, everyone. I got to tell you, a beautiful day. Temperatures have cooled off substantially, and we have even cooler air on the way. A cold front moving through the central part of North Dakota now, kicking off a few stronger thunderstorms down there in Sioux County, south of Interstate 94. We have hit and miss convection elsewhere, so isolated thunder showers a possibility this evening. Mainly from the Red River and points west, we have 80s. A lot of 70s to the east in western Minnesota. Here is a look at our tower cam. And I got to tell you, things are going to be very nice tonight. Light winds. We'll see a few high clouds out there. For the most part, we stay dry through your evening here in Fargo and in Grand Forks. The same thing goes. Temperatures slipping down to those comfortable 70s with fairly light winds. Now, we will have a chance at some overnight showers and storms, and we are watching the weekend weather very, very closely. In fact, we have issued a first alert weather day for Saturday night and Sunday. We'll have details on that here, Andrea, in just a few moments.
All right. Thanks, Hutch.
This kind of warrior ethos within the military that makes it really, really difficult for people to reach out.
The 2 airmen killed at the Grand Forks Air Force Base have now been identified. While the deaths are still under investigation, one family says domestic violence was involved. Valley News Team's Joshua Peguero spoke with a former official at the airbase and has more on this story.
The deaths of Airman Natasha Aposhin and Julian Torres have cut a deep wound in Grand Forks. Colonel Cameron Pringle identified them on Wednesday, saying in a statement, "This is heartbreaking. The two were found shot inside the dormitory Monday. Aposhin's family says the 21-year-old Arizona native was a victim of domestic violence. She had joined the Air Force in December, and now her family says it's a tragedy she won't get to fulfill her hopes and dreams.
The domestic violence piece really oftentimes boils down to a sense of control. And I have no idea what was going on between them, but if I had to guess, things were going badly.
Torres was a member of Security Forces, which is the on-base police. While details aren't being released on the investigation, guns are not allowed inside these dormitories. Torres' job would allow him to carry one inside.
Once you've shot and killed somebody with your duty weapon in the military, that realization comes to you. It's like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
After 20 years, Randy Nettegard retired as the behavioral health flight commander for Grand Forks Air Force Base. Nettegard says seeking mental help in the military is frowned upon by your peers.
There's this military culture that says, hey, don't seek help. Not explicitly. Leadership will say, you need some help, seek help.
Nettegard says living in Grand Forks can also be hard for some young airmen who joined with dreams of traveling the world.
We know that suicide tends to come kind of out of this sense of hopelessness and helplessness. And so when you feel trapped, when you feel vulnerable, when you feel like you can't change your environment.
Over the last 10 years, without including Monday's incident, there have been 4 deadly shootings involving active duty airmen. All were suicidal in nature. In Grand Forks, Joshua Piguero, Valley News Live.
All 21 airmen living in the Grand Forks dorm where the incident happened were evacuated. If you need help, you can call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255. The police chief of Wahpeton says his statement of possibly pressing charges for social media posts was to discourage people from rioting. Yesterday, the city put out a press release quoting the chief as saying people could face charges for sharing certain posts online. This was in regard to a rumor on Snapchat that there would be a riot in Wahpeton on Friday. Chief Scott Thorstensen says he was only citing a century code against inciting riots. The search continues for a man who fled police in Moorhead. Officials say Moorhead police tried stopping 26-year-old Warren Misovich several times during a pursuit Tuesday afternoon, but that he kept driving. Police say he was last seen driving a white 1997 Dodge Ram Club Cab pickup. He's also facing several charges. If you know where Misovich is or see his truck, you're asked to call the Red River Regional Dispatch Center at this phone number, 701-451-7660. State health officials are confirming 33 more cases of COVID-19 and another death has been linked to the illness. The patient who died was a man in his 70s from Cass County with underlying health issues. There have been 66 total deaths linked to COVID-19 in North Dakota. There are currently 444 active cases in the state. 2,169 people are listed as recovered. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, the state is reporting another 14 deaths from the virus, bringing the death toll to 1,086. Of those deaths, 876 happened in a long-term care facility. 372 new coronavirus cases are being reported, bringing the active case count to 3,615. 21,169 people have recovered. A judge is now blocking a chain of bars and restaurants in Minnesota from offering sit-down dining. The Stearns County judge has issued a temporary injunction against the owner of the Shady's chain. Shady's owner, Chris Schiffler, earlier had planned to reopen a bar in Albany last month, but announced he was not reopening after he was blocked by a court order. Attorney General Keith Ellison warned Schiffler that he could be fined up to $25,000 for each location that opened. Schiffler owns 6 Shady's restaurants, all of them in Stearns County. The Fargo Force and American Red Cross are joining forces for a blood drive at Shields Arena. If you are healthy and feeling well, you can schedule an appointment during the 2-day drive. The Red Cross says there is an urgent need of blood donations to prevent another blood shortage as hospitals resume treatments and procedures put on pause by the COVID-19 pandemic. To schedule an appointment, visit redcrossblood.org. Because of safety concerns, there will be extra precautions. Still ahead tonight, George Floyd's family gathers in Minneapolis for a memorial, including his 6-year-old daughter and her mother.
And meteorological summer just getting started with the start of the new month, and this weekend promises a chance for some severe weather. We'll have details on that coming up right after the break.